I'll just say, first of all, thanks for being here. We're really excited about the open house. Unfortunately, for the way the weather is, probably some folks aren't going to make it, but we got a good crowd downstairs from what I see already downstairs. So we're excited. It's first of all, it's very important for us and our staff to be available to the public to answer any questions. Take care of circumstances, situations with the federal government, and obviously just be a channel through government, and, no matter if it's federal or getting people to the right places, whether it's state or local, and also to be an advocate for the 3rd Congressional District in Washington. So we're really excited about it, and we know that we have a lot of work in front of us, but we're anxious to get there.
My question is about the funding for Planned Parenthood and the vote. I'm not sure how you voted on that.
Yes, I voted for it. Yeah, I voted for it. I think one of the things that is important for all of us to remember right now is what are the priorities of the federal government? We have $14 trillion of debt. We are right now currently spending $1.5 trillion more than what we're taking in revenue, and that's out of about a $3.7 trillion budget. So we're spending a lot of money that we don't have. We just don't have money. And of course, a lot of that is due to the economy and the way that we've seen the economy fall off, really, in the amount of revenue coming in. So I think everything should be on the table. We have to look at where our tax dollars going. And for me, on the particular issue of Planned Parenthood funding, I don't believe that taxpayers should have to pay into the federal government and then have their tax dollars go towards funding abortions or funding an organization that is so controversial like Planned Parenthood.
So you're saying both because of the money reason and the pro-life?
Absolutely. I think, first of all, it's pro-life. I don't believe it's right that people should take tax dollars and use it for an organization like Planned Parenthood. But second of all, because of the funding shortages that we have right now, let's make sure that we're focused on our constitutional responsibilities and making sure that our military is funded, and then moving down the line with priorities and making sure those responsibilities are funded first before an organization like Planned Parenthood.
And do you think the Senate will likely approve this as well?
I don't know. The Senate is obviously going to have to take up the continuing resolution that we just dealt with this past week. I don't know where their priorities are at right now. Theirs are probably a little different than ours. But I think at the same time, this is not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is one that the American people believe that right now Congress needs to get their fiscal house in order, and that we need to tighten our budget. And so everything should be on the table. And I believe that, whether it's Planned Parenthood or whether it's public radio or public TV, we need to have the dialogue about everything, whether it's the military. I don't want to just pick and choose. I think everything needs to be on the table, and making sure that we're not wasting money. We've had a lot of discussions with the Pentagon and where they're spending money at within the military, but also we have a lot of bureaucracies that are bloated and need to have some of the waste cut out of those.
Yeah, speaking of the Pentagon, one spending cut that failed was to sponsor NASCAR race cars.
Yeah.
If everything's on the table, isn't that one that is kind of frivolous?
That's what I thought right at first too, and I was going to support it. But what it did is it prohibited it just to NASCAR. The military could advertise anywhere else but NASCAR. So I don't think that we need to get that far down into the weeds and micromanaging, saying that the military can advertise at NASCAR, but they can't advertise with NASCAR, but they could advertise with the NFL. That just doesn't make any sense for us to do that. I don't know what, maybe he was an IndyCar racer or something. He was a fan of IndyCar rather than NASCAR. I don't know what his particular issue was, but it didn't cut funding. It just prohibited funding from going to the NASCAR advertising. But there was a lot of discussion on that one too, as well as some of the other amendments.
There was the bill about the high-capacity ammunition clips. Any thoughts on that?
We haven't dealt with that one yet. It's one that's obviously got a lot of attention due to the Congresswoman Gifford's shooting. I don't know what's going to happen with that particular piece of legislation. It hasn't been through committee that I know of. I'm sure it's been introduced. but we'll wait and watch that as that moves forward.
How has security changed for events like this since the incident in Arizona? So how has security changed for you for incidents like this?
Well, it's probably put it kind of at the forefront more than what we would have thought of before. I'm sure that we would have gotten to that point at some time. It just with the shooting and everything, it obviously we want to make sure that people are safe. We want to make sure that our staff is safe, and that the general public can feel comfortable going out to a public event like this, because this is so important that people can feel that they have the freedom and the safety to go to a public event. And that's what I think is the most tragic of all of this and the shooting, is that people start thinking twice about going out and doing what our First Amendment protects, and that's the freedom of speech and freedom to assemble. And we saw this in other parts of the world, and we're seeing it right now with Wisconsin and Indiana and Ohio and some of the issues that are going on there. And that's what makes America great, is that we can assemble, we can agree to disagree. And so when some person takes the advantage of the situation, it's horrible, and it's not good for our society, and it's not good for our form of government.
And as preparing for tonight's event and other events post Arizona incident, has that changed for you guys?
Well, it hasn't really changed for us, because it happened right at the beginning of our term, and as we were still setting our office up, it probably just moved it up higher on the priority list. And so I would say there's probably more emphasis for us to make sure that we have our relationships with law enforcement, and obviously the FBI has done some the Capitol Police and security have followed up with us to make sure that if there's anything that we need, that they can accommodate that. And so yeah, it's more of a priority than what it may have been without the shooting. But again, it's always we want to make sure that the public feels safe at an event like this.
Is that why y'all are having this within the federal walls?
No, it's actually because the office is here, and we thought about bringing everybody up through the office, but as you can see, there's quite a few folks here, and we wanted to be more informal. We talked about doing town hall meetings, but right now, I'm very much a relationship person. I like to look somebody in the eye and have a conversation, and it's hard to do that with thousands of people, but at the same time, we're making a good effort to just have an open house where people can come by, and we can visit face to face for a little bit, and they can ask any question they want. They feel like their question was answered by me, and we can have a dialogue. So that's why we're going open houses right now. Eventually, we'll be doing town halls and talking about issues in more of a public forum. But this is something that we can hopefully help people feel comfortable with to begin with.